Happy Father's Day 2018. Welcome to Brandy Potter Books Presents. Today we're going to do a great episode on stress and writing. But before we do that, because of some exciting things happening over on Facebook, I do want to share with you that you might not want to leave after the credits. So, moving forward in with our topic today, stress and writing. Stress is a topic that we hear so much about today. It almost oversaturates the market, and it's because it affects your health, your mood, every aspect of your life. We as writers do have a complicated relationship with stress because writing is a career. So, of course, writing can be stressful from that aspect, and it can also affect your writing too. But writing can have a positive effect on stress and vice versa. And no, I am not drunk. I am actually going to follow one of the tips of this and reward myself with a nice glass of Moscato later, but not for right now. So, writing can relieve stress by allowing you to vent your experiences and emotion through either journaling or even through a character's journey, like I did with Juliet's journey through domestic violence in Venomous Lives. I used that to deal with some of the stress that I was having with PTSD during my divorce from my ex-husband. And some people are actually stimulated by stress. They do their best thinking when they're stressed out, under a tight deadline, etc., etc. So they would have a very different effect from stress. But on the whole, stress can take a toll on you. It can take a toll on your body, your mind, your spiritual state, your creative thinking, your family. And so as we work through all of these 20 tips to relieve stress in writing, I want you to keep something in mind. There is no career in the world worth dying for. I work in workforce development in my other life, and I tell people that all the time. So please make sure that you are taking care of your physical, mental, spiritual, and creative needs before you even bother going through these 20 tips for authors to help relieve stress and writing.
Usual, not too deep.
We are going to break this up into sections just because I needed sections to keep my thoughts organized. I'm a pantser, so any kind of organization is good for me. Otherwise, we'd be going off in 8 different tangents and you wouldn't know where I was going. So these are the conventional stress relievers. You hear these all across the board. It's not going to be anything that you have not heard outside of the realm of writing if you are somebody that has been in the stress game long enough. But for you newer folks, these are some things that you can take right across the board in your career and your life. Number 1, set realistic goals. SMART goals is a goal model that I use in my life. I use it in my professional career. I use it in my workforce development life, which is my other job. I am not going to go into SMART goals or examples of SMART goals. I did do a presentation on SMART goals briefly in my Promo Day 2018 presentation, which I will link in the section below. But I do suggest that everybody out there go at least read something on setting SMART goals. But the reality of setting realistic goals is none of us are going to become the next Nora Roberts, the next Charles Dickens, the next Victor Hugo overnight. We need to make sure that our goals are realistic. So, for example, if you are working a job aside from writing, you might not be able to get 50,000 words done in a day. If you do write full time, maybe set a goal of writing 8 hours every day. So just make sure that the goals that you are setting are goals that you can realize so that you don't get frustrated in your goal process. Number 2, write in sprints. Those of us who have participated in NaNoWriMo probably know what sprints are. We often do them in groups. Those of us who don't know what sprints are, it is effectively setting a timer for a certain amount of time. It could be a half an hour, it could be 10 minutes, it could be 4 hours, but we write for as long as that timer is running, and then once it goes off, we stop and give ourselves a break. This can break up your writing sessions and effectively force you to take your breaks, take your lunches, eat whatever you need to do. Number 3, make writing a habit. This is especially important for those writers that have second jobs or false jobs or fake jobs or other lives, as I call it. Um, I set a time from 10 o'clock until 12 o'clock to write every day. I do that because my husband turns into a pumpkin at 9 o'clock and the kids are mostly in bed by 9 o'clock. So that is my writing habit. Even if I am sitting in front of the computer typing all work and no play makes Brandy a dull girl, I'm still writing something. So make writing a habit. Once you develop a habit, it's really hard to break. I know this because I smoke. Children do not smoke. Um, Once you have a habit, it's really hard to break. And so if you make it your habit to do it, then you will always, always do it. Number 4. So you're going to want to schedule your writing time. The reason for this is different for each type of writer. So there's the type A, which are those lucky, wonderful individuals that have all the time in the world to write. No, I'm just kidding. They're the people that get to write full time. I would encourage you to make it a job to work from 9 to 5, 8 to 4:30, however you want to put it, and take your weekends off. There's the type B, which is me, who has to work 2 jobs, the one that pays the bills and the one that we really want to have. Um, for me, like we talked about in the slide previously, it's from pumpkin time until midnight. And then I do write on the weekends, but from pumpkin time until midnight. And then I do take my lunch breaks to get the PowerPoints together for these presentations. You want to schedule your writing time so that it's not affecting the other areas of your life. My boss would be ticked off if I was writing during 8 to 4:30 when it wasn't my lunch break. So would yours. You don't want to work your writing job full time if you're working a full time job because it takes away from your family. Now, if you're working 2 jobs, you don't have a family, and you really don't care if you don't have any friends, go ahead and work it full time too. But having been an only parent, not a single parent, an only parent, I can tell you that 2 full-time jobs will bring on some serious health problems faster than you can say Bob's your uncle. So make sure you're scheduling your time so that it's not affecting the rest of your life. Number 5. Eliminate distractions. Here you see the weapons of mass distraction. Okay, so you need to prioritize your life. There are things that are emergent that require your attention immediately and are life and death. There are things that are urgent that require your attention that could wait just a few minutes. There are things that are important that require your attention eventually. There are things that are distractions, which do not require your attention and need to be put off until your writing is finished. Changes. Turn and face the strange changes. I don't know who said it, but somebody once said that people resist change because they focus on what they have to give up rather than what they have to gain. And changes can be very scary, especially for authors. And these changes are going to be especially scary for some of you. And for some of you, they are not. Number 6. Get away from your desk. Go outside. Go to a coffee shop. Go to a library. Go sit by the pool with your kids. Go to Disney World and look out a hotel room window. Whatever you can afford to do, get up and get away from your desk, because sometimes just staring at the computer screen is enough to give you a headache. It's enough to cause you stress. It's enough to make you panic sometimes. So get up and get away from your desk. Number 7. Changing your rituals. We as authors oftentimes have rituals. Not every author has rituals. I, for one, have a routine of brewing and bringing downstairs a carafe of coffee with cream and sugar in it so that I don't have to get up. I turn on my Spotify to whichever playlist that I am working with that day. We'll talk about that a little later in this presentation. I make sure that I have my cigarettes, and I make sure that everybody's in bed, because once I begin to write, if somebody distracts me, I tend to be a little bitchy, and I don't want to do that with my husband or my children. So sometimes changing the rituals that we have will allow us to get past a hurdle. I know that sometimes for me, if I'm blocked, there might be something in the previous chapter that's just not agreeing with me. And so if I don't read the previous chapters or two before I start writing, sometimes I figure out what that block is and then I'm able to change it.
It's all about knowledge. Everything is.
The next three slides may seem like they fall into the distraction zone, but if you are really stressed out, sometimes walking away from your project will help you, but you don't want to walk completely away. So I would suggest setting a timer or working on these in sprints as well. Number 8. Research relevant topics. So for me, I don't know a whole lot about detective work or forensic work. So working on my current novel, I need to be able to research techniques in forensics and investigation sometimes. So I will take time when I'm kind of stuck and I'm frustrating myself and everything is just not coming together, to go look those things up. For Venomous Lives, I had to look up things like when the cell phone came out. I didn't have one at that time, but my characters did. So I had to make sure that my time frame was right. Number 9. Read a blog or watch a video. Sometimes watching videos or reading blogs on writing techniques, such as this one, can help you to find some techniques that might make your life a little easier. But again, set a timer. Don't do this all day. I tend to listen to, not watch, but listen to YouTube videos on the way home from work so that I am in the mood to write. Jen Morassi is a great one to listen to on the way home, and Marsha Casper Cook's podcast is also a good one to listen to. I will put links to those in the comment section as well. Number 10. Work on marketing or branding. When I'm stuck and I don't know what to do and I don't want to read a blog or watch a video or what have you, I am currently rebranding all of my platforms. So I will go work on my website or my new Tumblr or post some tweets or what have you. But again, set a time limit, because this very easily can fall into procrastination or distraction.
Inspiration has struck.
Inspiration, the scapegoat of all writers. Well, artists in general. Still, while some people feel this is an excuse, even in other professions, finding inspiration can combat burnout. Therefore, number 11. Music. I have a playlist for just about everything that I do. For the getting together of the broadcasts that I do, like this, I'm typically playing a family playlist that has everything from the 50s on up to Psycho Stick. I also have a Beatles playlist, which I use when I'm doing research because they're one of my favorite bands. When I was writing Venomous Lives, I had a very heavy glam rock playlist, but I also listen to that in the car because, hello, guilty pleasures. We have to have those. But when I'm writing something that's really, really heavy, I have a classical playlist that has a lot of romantic composers, Chopin being one of my favorites. I honestly feel like if you can't be moved by listening to Chopin, then you're probably not a music person. I could be wrong because music is objective, but also Beethoven and Mozart and all of those kind of things. But again, music is objective, so find a playlist that works for you and use it. Number 12. This teachable truth, and I will define teachable truth later, is the greatest one that I have ever read. I have suffered through some losses being human and being in my 40s. One of them being my sister and my partner in crime, which we talk about a lot, but her memory is very much here. And that is because when I am producing these things, she is my audience. She is my one single viewer, my one single reader. Um, I find that if I take this advice to heart, I no longer have to sit there and censor myself like we talked about in last week's episode because I'm not writing to the whole world. I'm writing to that one person. So if you find yourself having anxiety or you're worrying about, God, will the 18 to 21-year-olds get this? Is this too much for the older crowd? Do I need to censor this? The big four, whatever. If you keep in mind that your audience is one single reader and pick a character or a person that you love that's either with us or not with us and use that, you will find yourself censoring yourself a lot less and causing yourself a lot less stress. Number 13. Surprise scenarios. So, writing prompts are amazing. And what we mean by surprise scenarios is that you need to make a plot point up that has nothing to do with your plot and put your character in it. So, one of the reasons that I love the BBC Sherlock series with Benedict Cumberbatch so much is because they did this, got Sherlock and Watson drunk and dealt with what they would be like drunk, which absolutely is a surprise scenario. It's not something that, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle would have addressed in his books. Um, so once you see how your character reacts in that plot point, it could put you right back on track. It could help you find something else to your character that you didn't know existed because, we are all authors and these are our imaginary friends, if you will, our imaginary children, and therefore, finding something new about their personality might just make you jump ship for inspiration. Number 14. Read books in your genre. I would probably set a timer on this as well if it were me. I know that I can get lost in some Nora Roberts, some Heather Graham, some David Eddings, some Jane Austen, especially some Conan Doyle right now. But however, before that timer goes off, immerse yourself in a book in the genre in which you are writing. I know that not every author writes in one specific genre, so just pick a book that's within the realm of genre that you are currently writing. Number 15. Teachable truths. A teachable truth is a quote or phrase that makes someone want to succeed or that gives someone an idea about what to do or create. It is a force that inspires someone. We've already seen one of my teachable truths from Mr. John Steinbeck, so I have prepared a quick round of some of my teachable truths to try to demonstrate what exactly these are. Number 16. Recreate the moments before you fall asleep. I love this cartoon. It sums up my entire existence with insomnia, even when it's related to PTSD. Okay, so right before we fall asleep, we are all kind of in an altered state of consciousness. You could call it meditation, you can call it prayer, you can call it I'm not quite asleep but not quite awake, however you want to sum it up. But it's an alternate state where your mind is totally clear of the stress and the events from the day and so on and so forth. And so all these creative ideas come flooding at you like this brain. And I don't know about you, but they beat at me, beat at me, beat at me until I sit up and I at least write them down in a journal, and it drives me crazy. So sometimes when I'm stressed with my writing, I'll come into the recording booth and I will just sit in the silence and I will do my deep breathing and my counting and all my rituals for sleep, but I won't go to sleep. I'll be sitting up straight. I sometimes have my eyes open, I sometimes don't, but then the ideas will come flooding to me because I'm recreating that altered state of consciousness.
What is its motivation?
So you've struck a match. You're ready to light the fire of creativity. What do you need to get that started? Well, you need some lighter fluid or motivation. Number 7.
I deserve good things. I am entitled to my share of happiness. I refuse to beat myself up. I am an attractive person. I am fun to be with.
Daily Affirmation with Stuart Smalley.
I'm going to do a terrific show today, and I'm going to help people because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
So you get the point. Using a daily affirmation or whatever motivates you, a reward system, or just the pleasure of putting words down on a paper. Only you can talk yourself through a lack of motivation. So use whatever works. Number 18. Reward yourself. I love Willem. Hi, Willem. So give yourself little rewards. You have a goal to get to the end of the chapter. Get to the end of the chapter. Go have a bonbon, or like Willem, a bucket full of frozen tropical alcoholic drink. Whatever your reward may be, give that to yourself. If you agree that you're going to get to the end of 5 chapters and take your family to, a theme park for the day, do that. Set rewards for yourself. Number 19. Don't let others determine your value. Your value is your value to yourself. Some of us have some self-esteem issues, our self-image issues, and then we open ourselves up to bad reviews and trolls on YouTube and horrible perverted people on Facebook sending us really bad Facebook messages, which I just went through this week. The reality of it is you're the one that determines your own value, nobody else. How you see yourself is how everybody else is going to see yourself. And so, RuPaul, I apologize, but I am going to steal this one. If you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else? And write about it. And last but the most important one of all, number 20. Embrace the garbage. It's inevitable. What does that mean? Nobody writes A Tale of Two Cities on their first draft. Everybody's got to edit, even Shakespeare. I'm sure there were lots of broken quills and thrown away parchments in his time. If you realize that your first draft, second draft, third draft, heck, even the 5th draft might not be perfect, then you take so much stress off yourself. So be like Oscar, love the trash, because the trash is part of the process and it's part of what makes you a wonderful writer. I hope that you enjoyed today's presentation. I don't know what we're going to come up with next week. You might see why. But I hope you had a happy Father's Day, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at 1,000 followers on Facebook. I am feeling so blessed and grateful right now for that. We're actually at 1325. So with 1,000 followers comes some changes to the platform that are very much needed. We are migrating from a personal profile to a page. This is going to take a little bit of time. My daughter, who is 17, is going to be working on this. So please bear with her and be nice. She's 17. And we will get you migrated over to the page shortly. But in honor of having the 1,000 followers on Facebook and hey, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, and YouTube, I know you're right behind. So we are going to do a giveaway of the Kindle edition of Venomous Lives over on Amazon. So if you want to pick up a copy of Venomous Lives for free, you can do so this week. That begins tomorrow, which is Monday, and goes until Friday. It is absolutely free. It's not a sale. So just head over to Amazon to do that. But wait, there's more, because I know there's some of you that would rather have a copy in your hand. There is a link to an entry form down in the descriptions below. That entry form will be for 5 free copies of the hardback that we will be doing a drawing for in 2 weeks time on the show. So a signed it's not hardback but hard copy, it's paperback of Venomous Lives from me. But really quickly, while we were going through the frustration of sorting through actual people that wanted to be on the page and some kind of stalkers that were going on, a young man named Ray Tsakalis sent me a very inspiring story. He is triumphing over a mobile restriction disability, and he is a marathon runner through a partnership with an organization called Athletes for Athletes. Ray, I know that we did have some discussion yesterday about us hanging out sometime. I would love to do that. Realistically, though, setting realistic goals for myself as per the presentation, I am not going to be able to do that until probably September. So in honor of that, you are entitled to a copy of Venomous Lives signed. That is yours. Coming to you about as soon as we can get it out. However, if you want me to hang on to that till we hang out so I can give it to you in person, absolutely can do that as well. Just private message me and let me know how you want to do it. All right. So I hope all my fathers out there had a wonderful Father's Day. I tried to make my husband's Father's Day as good as possible, and in that spirit, Shane, I love you. Happy Father's Day. I'm so proud of you and so proud to be your wife, and so proud of our kids. So anyway, I hope you guys know that it killed me to start the credits earlier without saying this. So as always, please remember, to walk without dreams is to walk blind.